No greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet, and today we are going to be talking about a theoretical pandemic. Now, when this day started, I was searching around, trying to figure out what I was going to do for a story, and I was pretty much locked in on another review of the COVID situation in Texas. And of course, the more I read the news, the more thoroughly depressed I got and just completely blackpilled myself over the thought of the fact that there's literally like a third of the country that just doesn't care. They're not going to get vaccinated. They're not going to wear masks. They're not going to allow their kids to wear masks. They're literally going to do everything they can to continue spreading around a deadly pandemic just to prove a point and show us how star-spangled awesome they are. So, what I want to do here is I'm going to show you very quickly the story I was going to do today, and then instead of the usual spiel, I am going to place a hypothetical situation in your laps. A hypothetical pandemic, a hypothetical virus, because I've been led to believe by the thought leaders and debate me bros of the internet that apparently talking about hypotheticals rather than what's actually going on in the real world will somehow mystically get people to change their deeply held beliefs and opinions. So, since I've tried everything else to get you fucking nudniks to just take public health seriously, I'm actually going to try this bizarre route as one last, final Hail Mary before I just fucking wash my hands of all of you and walk away and just let whatever's going to happen while I sit in my living room, in my recliner, fully vaccinated, eating my groceries, not going out of my house and watching the news, because this is literally where we're at, people. You still with me? All right, let me show you what I had over here. So what I had planned to do is start with a little review over what's going on in Texas. Greg Abbott recently got the Rona, and he had to sort of sequester himself away in the governor's mansion in Texas, surrounded by the highest ranking members of his state's health department, giving him every experimental and known medication and vaccine, all for free, because of course, when you're the government, you get to literally ban mask and vaccine mandates to all of your people while ensuring that you get the highest tier quality healthcare on the taxpayer's dime. So while Abbott is relatively doing well, and we'll cover that in a second, his Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, has wasted no time in going out and reinforcing the Texas attitude and the Texas marketing slogans to the rest of the country by appearing on Laura Ingram's show on Fox News and basically stating that, well, the reason there's so much corona in Texas is because of black people. And because black people won't get vaccinated. Not Christian evangelicals, not Trumpers. No, it's the black people, the people who make up like 14% of the population of the entire state of Texas. Somehow he wants you to believe it's their fault, but sure, so that was a thing. Then I was going to explain to you how every single small hospital and ER has now been converted 100% over to ICU beds, and they are all full. Ergo, people are now having to get flown more than 200 miles again on somebody else's dime to go get life-saving treatment and therapy and help in advanced hospitals in other parts of the country because none of these people want to get vaccinated or wear masks, and they don't fucking care until it gets hard for them to breathe. Then they run to the hospital and immediately demand to be cured. Yeah, well, guess what? Apparently, if you've got like 30 million people in a state and you only have like 3,000 ICU beds, eventually math tells you to go fuck yourself. And then, of course, Governor Greg Abbott finally testing negative for COVID. And of course, both himself and Fox News are going out of their way to tout the fact that the drug Regeneron, which is a blood infusion that you can get after you have the coronavirus, it costs about $8,000, is totally like a great thing to do. Yeah, that's right. He doesn't want to have mask mandates because masks only cost 99 cents. And he doesn't want to have vaccine mandates because the vaccines are free. But he does want everybody to get the COVID and then go to the hospital and spend $8,000 to get Regeneron like he did, except for the fact that he didn't have to pay for it, just Texas taxpayers did. But don't worry, he's expecting them to also pay $8,000 to cure themselves with the same drug. So that's also going on in Texas. And meanwhile, while Mr. Abbott is literally getting the best healthcare your money can buy, there are now entire towns in Texas that are so fucking polluted that the entire town is now shutting down and is on full quarantine and lockdown. Yeah, there are school districts with a 20% COVID positive rate after 1 week of classes. So yes, that was going to be my video today. Now, obviously, it would have been longer. I would have, done more wild gesticulating and said more snarky shit, maybe put in a tweet or two, come up with a good monologue somewhere in the middle, and y'all would have been fine. It would have gotten the usual amount of hits and views, and everybody would have been happy. But instead, I have decided to throw the Hail Mary pass. I am going to take the wisdom and advice of the all-powerful debate me bro circuit of the internet. That's right, there's a swath of people in the digital world out there who believe that true intellect and knowledge comes not from knowing things, but rather posing hypotheticals at people and then asking them 4,000 questions until they just fucking relent. So apparently, since these towering edifices of intellect have decided that this is the route that we should take to discuss things, I am instead going to pose a hypothetical, not to you, the usual viewer, but to the people out there who still, after all this, refuse to wear a mask, refuse to get a vaccine, refuse to do anything to help anybody, refuse to even concede that public health is a thing that requires more than the individual belief that you are star-spangled awesome. Okay? So let me pose this hypothetical instead. Maybe you share this around with your stubborn grandpa or your libertarian uncle who thinks Bill Gates has 5G chips waiting for him. All right? Spread this one around because this is literally my last attempt. And I'm going way off my usual playbook on this one, so let's give it a whirl. Imagine, if you will, that instead of what the coronavirus is doing now, instead it was a rotavirus. What's a rotavirus? A rotavirus is a virus that gives you extreme cramping, extreme dehydration, and uncontrollable, explosive diarrhea. Yes, I'm playing the Bellagio fountains in the hopes that this will somewhat soften the grossness of my appeal. Yes, that's right, the rotavirus. Now, let's say, hypothetically, because again, this is what all the big thinkers tell me we should be doing. Hypothetically, let's say instead of there being a gnarly strain of the coronavirus, it was a gnarly strain of the rotavirus. And instead of, going, oh, I think I might have the flu, cough, cough, cough. Instead, you started Bellagioing everywhere you went, uncontrollably. Would you still be barging into grocery stores going, it's my right to walk around in here. You can't tell me I have to get a vaccine. Oh, hold on. Bellagio fountain in the middle of the grocery store. But it's my right to be in this restaurant. It's my right to eat without a mask. Bellagio fountain in the restaurant. Yeah, would you still be so belligerent towards getting a vaccine or a cure or maybe, I don't know, having like a mandatory actual diaper mandate, since you all think that the masks are face diapers anyway? Huh? If the rotavirus was going around and you owned a business, would you just let anybody come in your business and just start Bellagioing all over the place? All over your customers? All over your business? All over your product? Would you? Seriously, I'm asking, because apparently there are swaths of human beings who live here in the United States of America who spend all day on the internet saying that mandating masks in a private business or a store or a corporation is akin to fascism. That's right, fascism. They equate having to wear a mask to go buy a pack of bananas in a Walmart with gassing more than 6 million people to death via an ethnic cleansing genocide. So let me ask you, if this happened every time you left the house when you had the pandemic, that right there, If that happened, would you get a vaccine? If you owned a business, would you let the unvaccinated come into your business and Bellagio it? Would you be okay with that? I'm asking because apparently you're all okay with spreading around the coronavirus. You're perfectly okay with coughing into the air and getting people sick because you can't see it. So let me ask you, if you could see the coronavirus, if you could see the pandemic, only it was coming out of a different hole instead of your mouth, and it still happened in public, would you still be against vaccines? Would you still be against the face diapers? Would you still be against social distancing? Because at this point, I don't know what else to do to get you all to understand. Oh, it's a conspiracy. The wealthy just want to implant us with 5G chips. Right. That's why if you go to the wealthiest, whitest county in every state of America, the population is fully vaccinated at over a 95% clip. Why? Because they don't want to die. They just want you to die. I don't know what else to do, people. Please, for the love of God, think about it and ask yourself, if the coronavirus made you look like that, would you get the vaccine? Because obviously you don't care about other people. Would you maybe care about your own embarrassment and shame enough? I don't know how else to implore the remaining third of America to go out and get a goddamn vaccine and wear a goddamn mask. So I leave you with these Bellagio fountains, and I don't know. Maybe ask yourself tonight before you go to bed when you're lying there. Be like, would I just totally Bellagio? Would that be cool? Please, everybody, at least give it a thought. This is my last desperate plea as somebody who would like to leave the house sometime in the next 2 years. Until next time, my name is James. I am from the internet, and I am out. Peace.